And there is this really famous guy in the space who is talking about learning to love things that are good for you. So like a lot of the time with kids and even as adults, hey, we don't always go toward the thing that we should go to, right? Like we may prefer sleeping over being in church, or self-care instead of caring for others, among others. And so he talks about this example where he's got a bunch of kids whose parents, these kids are in high school, they come in and they're like not really happy to be there. So your parents put you in classical ed and you don't want to be here. And he goes, well, let me give you an example of what this is like. And he says, imagine that you have a great uncle you never knew, and he had this coffee empire, and he has given it to you in his will. You find out about him, you find out about his coffee empire. The thing is, you hate coffee, but you're happy to take on this empire, and you're happy to take on this gift from him. But what he's told, or what the lawyers tell you, is that you have to be able to take a lie detector test and answer truthfully from the bottom of your heart that you love coffee. If you can't have the empire, you can't have money. But there's a catch. You can come back in a year. And if you come back in a year, then and you're able to pass the test, you can say, I truthfully love coffee. You know, and insert Jesus instead of coffee. And insert any of the good things that we're supposed to eat instead of coffee.
Who are you?
You come back in a year, then you can have it. And so he poses the question to these children. He says, all right, high schoolers, what would you do to help yourself learn to love coffee? And some of them said things like, well, you know, I would drink a little bit every day. And I would put a lot of milk and a lot of sugar, but I would do a little bit every day. And then another was like, well, I would read as many books as I could get about coffee and try to like understand what people love about it, why it's any good. And another one's like, well, there's probably people who are like really good at making coffee or famous in the space, and maybe I would get their pictures and I would like hang them around for inspiration. And over time, I would wean myself into loving coffee. And so, you know, his point was classical ed is a lot like that. It's teaching you to love these things that are good for you. You know, the kids gave an example about like, you know, take for example somebody who's hip. You know, maybe in your day it was like the Beatles or it's Post Malone. Like, I don't even think that's a cool thing anymore. But let's say that it is. You either like it or you don't, but nobody's striving to like it. But you know you should like being in church. You know you should like going to communion. You know you should not just like those things, you should love them. You should love Jesus and be comfortable saying that you love him to anybody. And so I just thought, especially as we've talked before about really, you know, why do we do what we do? It's not because we're guilty and afraid. It really should come from a place of love. I thought this was super powerful.
Are we doing the reading now?
No, that was just like my little pre. I wanted to get that in.
I think you should just do the rest.
No, don't make me. Okay, so all right. So that was food for thought. That wasn't even the reading, and it took all 2.5 minutes.
I'm enjoying this.
Okay, all right. Last time we met, I made everybody cry after we read Stavula. We were reading page. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. It was powerful. But we started on page 1395. We were reading chapter 14. The man was killed on the Sabbath. Jesus is constantly trying to correct this confusion about the law that the Pharisees have. There was a question, is it lawful to kill on the Sabbath? Which he was basically saying, this is ridiculous. You would pull an ox out. What's going on here? Get right with God. We had 4 excuses for ignoring our Lord's call and direction. And we also had the cost of discipleship, right? We talked about bearing your cross and bearing it well. And also at this time that carrying a cross does not mean like the cross means to us now. Like at this time, Jesus had not been crucified yet, and he did not resurrect and come back yet. And so for them, this is a sign of brutal punishment and death. And then lastly, we kind of finished off on 1396.
That's why I don't bring that one. That's why I don't bring her.
You know, sometimes I feel like that too.
She left you her shoe though. You know, so you got the one shoe.
Yeah.
So we finished up with the lost sheep, and we talked about how, you know, this is Jesus is saying, who wouldn't leave the 99 behind and go look for the lost sheep. But I would also argue that we are all the lost sheep because we all are completely lost without him. And now I'm done talking until the very end. And now it's your turn.
I've gotten used to this. I
No,
think you
you
should do
go.
the
You
rest.
go.
It's nice listening.
If I cry, will somebody take me out?
Is this what it feels like? Am I doing
Is
it?
there a lollipop?
Nice
Nice.
snack.
All right, so we're about to read the parable of the prodigal son. It's rather long. I do want to go through the whole thing instead of break it up. But this should be familiar, I think, to most. We'll find out. I bet Rochelle knows it.
I got jokes.
Hmm?
You know, this is the second time that I was like gone for a long time, and then when I came back, we were reading The Prodigal Son.
Oh, wow.
You have to stay now, Rochelle. You
Yeah,
can't
this is a
wait.
sign.
I can't like
You're
disappear
done.
again.
Yeah. Unless the
That's
third
fair.
time must
All
be
right.
the charm.
Well, I'll stare at
Let's hope not.
I'll just stare at you while I read it. All right. Chapter 15, verse 11. Then he said, a certain man had 2 sons, and the younger of them said to his father, Father, give me the portion of goods that falls to me. It's an inheritance. So he divided to them his livelihood. And not many days after, the younger son gathered all together, journeyed to a far country, and there wasted his possessions with prodigal living. Prodigal means like scandalous, wasteful, living. But when he had spent all, there arose a severe famine in that land, and he began to be in want. Then he went and joined himself to a citizen of that country, and he sent him into his fields to feed swine. And he would gladly have filled his stomach with the pods that the swine ate, and no one gave him anything. But when he came to himself, he said, How many of my father's hired servants have bread enough and to spare, and I perish with hunger? I will arise and go to my father, and will say to him, Father, I have sinned against heaven and before you, and I am no longer worthy to be called your son. Make me like one of your hired servants. And he arose and came to his father. But when he was still a great way off, his father saw him and had compassion, and ran and fell on his neck and kissed him. And the son said to him, Father, I have sinned against heaven and in your sight, and am no longer worthy to be called your son. But the father said to his servants, Bring out the best robe and put it on him, and put a ring on his hand and sandals on his feet, and bring the fatted calf here and kill it, and let us eat and be merry. For this my son was dead and is alive again. He was lost and is found. And they began to be merry. Now his older son was in the field, and as he came and drew near to the house, he heard music and dancing. So he called one of his servants and asked what these things meant. And he said to him, Your brother has come, and because he has received him safe and sound, your father has killed the fatted calf. But he was angry and would not go in. Therefore his father came out and pleaded with him. So he answered and said to his father, Lo, these many years I have been serving you. I never transgressed your commandments at any time, and yet you never gave me a young goat, that I might make merry with my friends. But as soon as this son of yours came, who has devoured your livelihood with harlots, you killed the fatted calf for him. And he said to him, Son, you are always with me, and all that I have is yours. It was right that we should be merry and be glad. For your brother was dead and is alive again, and was lost and is found. All right. So often with these parables, there's more than one layer to them, right? Because he's talking to someone at that time, but these words are timeless, so they talk to us as well. So, first and foremost, he's been talking to these Pharisees, these rulers of the Jews. What do you think he's trying to tell them here in this story? I'm going to leave it wide open and see what we get. Rochelle?
It's been a while.
I'll, just for the...
So,
Oh,
I like this one, not just because it comes up every time I disappear, But I mean, it's coming back to God.
Yeah.
Like, you celebrate it,
Yeah.
and God is always welcome.
Yeah.
So when you come back, you're back, and God is happy, and we celebrate it.
Yeah.
Others might not be so happy.
Yeah. They go, why is he?
A little, right,
Yeah.
right. Like, why are you so welcoming?
Yeah.
Because that's who God is.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't matter. You mess up, you repent, you come back, you turn back
Yeah.
to God. God's taking you back.
Yeah. Beautiful. We missed you.
I missed you guys.
Perfect. I want to, real quick, this is a picture for us, and we'll talk about that in a second, but first and foremost, this is a picture of the Gentiles and the Jews. The Gentiles had their pagan gods, their breath from his breath, they're made in the image of him, and yet they didn't follow God throughout the whole Testament. They were off in all the other evils of the world, right? The Israelites were with him the whole time, right? So the Gentiles would be the younger brother, and the older brother would be the Jews. They go, hey, we've been here all the time. This guy's an idiot. He wasted everything. He spent it on prostitutes and feasts, and why would you do this for him, right? If you're a Pharisee at that time, who's like, if you're a son of Abraham, you have the blood, and you're the good people, and everyone else is the bad people, this is scandalous for them to hear. They hate this, right? But back to how it applies in our life, yeah, this is the picture of repentance, right? How many people, I bet many in this room, I know I'm one of them, who they're made in his image and likeness. He brings us to this earth, breath from his breath, and then we go, oh, let me go see the pleasures of the world and what's going on here, This son, he gave all the things to the world, and the world gave him nothing back. It rejected him. He wasn't able to even eat the food that the pigs eat. The pigs who are often sacrificed to pagan gods, he wasn't even fit enough to eat what those things ate, right? So everyone's rejected him. And he decides, I'm going to go back to my father, right? And he's a far way away, right? Before he even says anything, the father sees him. And he's like, my son! Right. And that's his love for us, right? That's his love. He's always waiting for us. He never left. We can turn our back. He doesn't, right? And he says, you are a son. He puts a robe on him. He puts a ring, a symbol of authority, right? No, you're my son. You have the inheritance as well. All right. Yeah.
I was just going to add another point to it, and maybe I'm not correct on this, but
I doubt it.
It also it seems to me it manifests our idea of love, that important part of love, that love is patient and love is kind and it doesn't boast and all of those other things, doesn't have pride. And what I'm saying is the younger one that just been doing all the work all the time got envious.
Oh, I think the younger one was the
prodigal.
The prodigal, yeah.
The older one. I mean the guy that was,
yeah, he got envious, right?
So it was the opposite, but yeah, the older guy. And he, he's like getting ticked off. And so he did not understand the love that his dad had about the one that ran off, the prodigal son, And I think that was a story of love, about also having a deep love, and the other one was getting a little jealous over there. And that happens to, I think, a lot of people of all times and all ages. Like, oh, wait, why did that one hit this?
Yeah.
I've been the one doing all this stuff, or something like that, right?
Well,
so I don't know.
We must be connected today, because I was about to take us all to that page of what you just quoted.
Oh, well.
No, don't be sorry at all. That's exactly where I was going.
I reversed them.
But yeah, to your point, this is a faithful man, right? He's with the Father. He trusts him. He's doing his bidding. But what does he lack?
Yeah.
Love.
True love. Yeah.
True love, right? And it's very easy, in here are many regular church attenders, right? Mm-hmm. I think I'm probably not the only one who's had that thought around Christmas, Easter, and go, oh, it's nice to see all these people around here, And then I go, slap the hand. Okay, don't do that. That's our time to give love, right? And to receive them, right? But there's that pull to go, and when God works in our lives to go like, well, I earned this. I earned this. And what about this guy? This guy's a profligate, spender. He's crazy, get him out. Get him out. But God shows no partiality, right? None. All right. To that point, can everyone turn to page 1567? I thought I copied the quote out of my Bible, but I'm going to read it anyways. It's 1 Corinthians 13, verse 2.
Who got there first? Who got a candy?
What is it?
Oh, 1567.
15.
Yeah, up there,
I'm
yeah.
close.
Take your time. No rush, guys.
You got the candy?
You got the candy?
Mom, get out the fence.
Let me see. I got really sticky hands today. Oh my gosh, it goes all the way back over there.
Yeah, that's what it was doing to me. Yeah, I was like, what? There we go. Thank you. I'm 5,
All
6,
right.
7.
Are we good? We made it? Verse 2, I'm going to read it.
God sent me a helping hand.
Yeah. Amen. This is St. Paul talking about faith and love. It says, and though I have the gift of prophecy and understand all mysteries and all knowledge, and though I have all faith so that I can remove mountains, but have not love, I am nothing. Right? So we're going to read a little bit more, but faith without love. What, 1567?
Chapter 13.
Chapter 13, verse 2. Sorry about that. My bad.
Oh,
I missed it. It's my bad. It's my bad. I'm glad you guys are paying attention. All right. Okay, chapter 13, verse 2. I'm going to read it again. And though I have the gift of prophecy and understand all mysteries and all knowledge, and though I have all faith so that I could remove mountains, but have not love, I am nothing. Right? And though I bestow all my goods to feed the poor, and though I give my body to be burned, but have not love, it profits me nothing. So, St. James, he says, as the body without spirit is dead, so is faith without works, right? Well, what's a work? Love. Faith without love, it's dead. It's dead. Remember he says, people will arrive at the judgment and they go, I cast out spirits in your name. I did this. And he goes, I never knew you, right? St. John tells us, those who love, they know God. Those who do not love, do not know God. So we always talk about faith, which is so important, and trust in God is so important. But if you don't have the fullness of his love and you're doing the same and giving it, then yeah, you're lost. And here, okay, if anyone wants to know what love is, we're always told modern media, it's romance, and it's, I love Oreos, and I love the Beatles and stuff. This is true love. So same chapter, verse 4. Love suffers long and is kind. Love does not envy. Love does not parade itself. Is not puffed up. Does not behave rudely. Does not seek its own. Is not provoked. Thinks no evil. Does not rejoice in iniquity, but rejoices in the truth. Bears all things. Believes all things. Hopes all things. Endures all things. Right? There's a temptation when we're Christians to go, well, I'm better. I'm better than the non-Christian, or I'm better than that person, right? And, we're told who much is given and much is expected. So the bar is actually higher for us because we know him, right? And we're supposed to be better. We're supposed to be, but we're supposed to act lower. Humility, right? Our Lord, before he went on the cross in the ultimate act of humility, he got down on his feet, he took off his clothes, and he washed the servants' feet, right? He put himself in the lowest place. That's how we're supposed to be.
Brandon and I have a pastor friend who once said, and I think this is really well said, we're not better than the non-Christian, you're just better off because you know the truth, right? Well, now I'm adding color, but like you know what you're supposed to do, so you're better off in that at least you know it, but you're not better. Everyone is of equal value to the Lord. He'd like to save everybody who's willing. That's right, Sineon.
Yeah.
I know, we can just make it no sense.
And it's incumbent upon us, if we are out and we are representing ourselves as Christians and we're not loving, well, we're injuring him in a way. We're injuring God in a way, right? Because we're not, because everybody has a story about somebody who says they're Christian, they got their cross, they're even wearing a shirt and stuff, and you go, this guy's mean, I've had that. I've seen it before, right? And you hear some people where they go, "Oh, I don't like that church stuff," and there was a bad experience, right? It was a person that was representing God, at least trying to, and they did a poor job. So, well, I talked a lot. Anybody else? Thoughts? Questions? Concerns? Accusations? Krista, anything to add?
I did already.
You did already? Rochelle?
I feel like a lot of people, they say they love you, but it's very conditional. Like, what are you gonna do for me?
Yeah.
I love you, so what am I gonna get in return? And I think,
Yeah.
and we're probably all guilty of it.
Oh, yeah.
When it says it's not, doesn't parade itself around, like, that really hits home because, when you do things, you do it, no one needs to know what,
Yeah.
the good you're doing,
Yeah.
you do it because you love and expect nothing.
Yeah, guess what I did today,
Yeah, and a lot of people are like that, though.
Yeah.
I know a lot of
And that's our
people
society
do
is.
this and this and this for this person, and what do I get in return, and I think
Yeah.
that's-
Or can you believe I did this nice thing and they did
Yeah.
nothing for me?
Not even
Yeah.
thank you or something, and, that's our fault.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that hits home, yeah.
Beautiful.
That's like at St. Herman's where I got that sign, what can I do for St. Herman's?
Oh, yeah. What can you do for others, not what's happening for you? Yeah. All right.
There's a
Well, I
lot.
guess we'll move on, unless somebody has anything else they want to share. Yeah, I really like that parable, and I think I might like this one more. They're equal to me. This next parable, I like it because when I first read it, I had no idea what it meant. I was so confused. I got part of it, and I just kept I think this has been in my head, for like a year. Just like, what? What does this mean, right? So, God willing, you guys will understand it much quicker than I did. God willing, I understand it. All right, chapter 16, we can go back to where we were. I'll give you time to get back there.
1398. Chapter 16, the unjust steward.
All right. I'll wait till we're all there. Okay. Chapter 16, verse 1. He also said to his disciples, there was a certain rich man who had a steward. So steward is like a manager of a household. He's a pretty high up guy, right? He manages all the master's goods. And an accusation was brought to him that this man was wasting his goods. So he called and said to him, what is this I hear about you? Give an account of your stewardship, for you can no longer be steward. Then the steward said within himself, what shall I do? For my master is taking the stewardship away from me. I cannot dig. I'm ashamed to beg. I resolve what to do, that when I am put out of the stewardship, they may receive me into their houses. So he called every one of his master's debtors. He called every one of his master's debtors to him and said to the first, how much money do you owe my master? And he said, 100 measures of oil. So he said to him, take your bill and sit down quickly and write 50. Then he said to another, and how much do you owe? So he said, 100 measures of wheat. He said to him, take your bill and write 80. So the master commended the unjust steward because he had dealt shrewdly. For the sons of this world are more shrewd in their generation than the sons of light. And I say to you, make friends for yourselves by unrighteous mammon. For those that don't remember, mammon is money, wealth, power, status, the things of this world. Make friends for yourselves by unrighteous mammon, that when you fail, they may receive you into an everlasting home. He who is faithful in what is least is faithful also in much, and he who is unjust in what is least is unjust also in much. Therefore, if you have not been faithful in the unrighteous mammon, who will commit to your trust the true riches? And if you've not been faithful in what is another man's, who will give you what is your own? Hey, little man. All right. What is going on here? What is Jesus trying to show us here? It's a few things. We have a master and steward. The steward is over the household and he's wasting all his master's good. He finds out he's going to be fired, and rightfully so. He doesn't say I never did it. He did waste his goods. So he decides to write down all the debts of the master's debtors. He's, oh, you owe 100? Now you owe 50. He goes, they're going to, I'm going to get kicked out of here, but they're going to be nice to me when I leave. Maybe I'll get a job. And you'd think the master would go like, oh, I'm putting you in jail. How dare you do this? But he says, what does he say? He commended the unjust steward because he had dealt shrewdly. Instead he goes, that was pretty sharp what you did there. That was pretty sharp. Okay? Jesus says the people of this world are more shrewd than the people of God. So our mammon, the wealth, money, power, status, these things of the world that burn up, how we use them on this earth, can be a very good indication of how we'll use the greater things, the spiritual things, right? It's almost like he's saying, it's like, hey, you got money, maybe you can, it's almost like, buy yourself a little home up there, get yourself a little space, it'll help, right? Is that what he's saying?
So I like to think back a couple chapters, and do you remember when we had sort of, it was like the Sermon on the Mount, but it wasn't the Sermon on the Mount, and there were some harsh parameters put around, and we were reading about how when you go into the market, be honest. So if you're the marketplace person and you're giving flour, we talk about how this is even in countries where there's still kind of these mass markets. The honest man presses the flour down and makes sure you have the good thing. It would be easier for you to believe that the guy who does, like, if you're a baker, who just does the scoop and it's a loose flour and it's not packed and hands that to you. If someone's like, he's also cheating on his wife, you'd be like, yes, I'm sure he is, because he's cheating all these people. But the honest man who's pressing it down and making the effort to give you the true value for your money, it would be easier to believe then that, his actions will probably stack appropriately through the rest of his life. This is not a one-to-one comparison, but this is what it makes me think of. So one point here is, if you are honest and you are good and you are righteous and virtuous and the most unimportant things.
Well, if you're generous
and
that's what it's about. It's about
right?
giving.
We talked about that extra scoop, like the person, you guys remember that? We talked about how in the old country it was like, in the villages, they would give that extra heaping scoop that was more than pressed down, so you took more than what you really had paid for. So if you're generous in this kind of insignificant thing in the scheme of things, right? It's not like this is not the most important thing you will do all day. you would assume it would carry through.
Now, someone might say, but hey, wait, this is my money. This steward was spending his master's money. What does this have to do with me? Right? What do you guys think? What? Is it really ours? Is anything really ours? Right?
Not even the air in your lungs.
Does mine exist in the kingdom of God? Mine, right? This is a thing of the devil, right? Mine, it's mine, right? So how we are with our goods that are perish, he says, be shrewd with them, right? You can really make other people's lives easier. I will remember that, right? God will remember that person, right? Now, there's one other way, something else going on here, right? So, let's just imagine this parable. The master is God. We are the steward, right? God has all these debts that people are going to pay to him. What's the Lord's Prayer? Forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors, right? So this man's writing down these debts. It's like forgiving people, right? It's like, remember, am I losing everyone? Yeah. How about you, Help?
Thank you. Just put me on the spot. If it goes bad, it's his fault. I'm kidding. No, so Brandon's pointing out here that we are all called to forgive people fully and completely. And what you loose here on earth will be loosed also in heaven. So when we hold on to grudges, when we are expecting everybody to be reasonable, when we are easily angered and unforgiving, we are not really doing our part that we say in the Lord's Prayer. We say this possibly every day, more than once a day, certainly at least once a week in church. We say we just did our Father, and we've talked about this line before. Forgive us as we forgive others. So that's really, when we're discussing debt from that angle, that's what Brandon's getting at there. So many of these parables have multiple layers. It's not just like, it's more like propane and roll stoves. Why not both instead of just one? Thoughts, feelings? Anyone?
Well, I thought, using the analogy of wheat. Wheat is symbolic of life.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember what oil symbolizes.
Healing.
Healing, information.
Holy Spirit.
And everyone has a different debt to pay. Not everyone's on the same level.
Yeah.
And Christ is kind of filling in all of the debts regardless of where everyone is at.
Yeah.
So that's what I got out of that.
That's great. So did you rectify the situation?
Raise your hand if I didn't.
If I didn't. Nice one. Nice one.
What do you think, Simeon?
Is this confusing? Are you guys confused? Yeah. Okay. Well, at least we're in the same accord, right? When I read this first, it was like, what is going on here? But nothing's ours. Let me pull up my notes here. All right. Where was I? All right, 13. No servant can serve two masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or else he will be loyal to the one and despise the other. You cannot serve God and mammon. So, pick one of the two. You can't have both. You can't serve both, rather. You can't serve it. 14. Now the Pharisees, who were lovers of money, also heard all these things, and they derided him. And he said to them, "You are those who justify yourselves before men, but God knows your hearts. For what is highly esteemed among men is an abomination in the sight of God." The Pharisees worship mammon, They're all about their money, their wealth, their status, their power, sitting at the high tables and the high seats and the places. And this is what their policing of the law is about. It's about themselves. It's about gaining power and esteem. They care for the esteem of men, not of God. Right? And this is something that, when we talk about trying to be the good soil and the cares of this world come in, like one of the cares of this world is to try to be esteemed in this way by others, right? And how much we make, our profession, right? But this is very offensive to the Pharisees, right? Very offensive. 16. The law and the prophets were until John. Since that time, the kingdom of God has been preached, and everyone is pressing into it. And it is easier for heaven and earth to pass away than for one tittle of the law to fail. Whoever divorces his wife and marries another commits adultery, and whoever marries her who is divorced from her husband commits adultery. So John the Baptist was the last of the Old Testament prophets, and really he was the middle point between the Old Covenant with Abraham and the New Covenant, the kingdom of Christ, right? He was proclaiming the kingdom of Christ. He preached the coming New Covenant, the gospel, the good news of the coming of the new king, right? And when you first read this, you go, why is he all of a sudden talking about divorce? Well, he's giving an example. He's basically saying what is wrong is still wrong, and what is right is still right. This is not changing, right? But there's still a standard. You won't be able to reach that standard, but through him, he brings us through, right? And I think we should probably stop there because the next one's longer.
Yeah, we can do the reading.
But I seem I confused some of you tonight. I'm sorry.
Can we clarify any of it? Can somebody say what the thing is? No?
Yeah.
Anything to clarify?
Yeah, can we go back to the beginning of 16? Like that whole paragraph. I'm a little lost on it.
Yeah.
So what is it trying to say? Is it saying you should be? Who's the steward? Who's he stewarding for? What is it?
We're the stewards
Okay.
as Christians.
Got that.
The master is God.
Understood. Okay.
Yeah. And the other people, I'm guessing, are just other people in the world,
Okay.
right? But that's how I view it. That's what I've read.
Okay. So the master is upset with the steward because
He's wasting his goods.
he's wasting
And we
his-
all
so
waste his
God
goods,
gave,
right?
Gave him something, and he's like, "You're not using this appropriately."
Yeah.
Okay. And the steward rectifies it or he doesn't. What's the shrewd part? That's where I get lost.
Because he acted deceivingly, actually. He goes, well, because it wasn't his, right?
Okay.
And he wrote down all the debts. So he basically was giving all these people that were not his master's money, his master's substance, right? I'm sorry, I'm getting distracted. I lost myself there too.
Master substance.
Yeah, so he gives away the master's substance. So part of you goes, well, isn't that wrong? Right? Because he's giving away his master's money. But the master's happy. Well, he's the steward, but the master would usually be upset, right? If you're giving away your master's stuff, then the master would go, why are you giving away my stuff? But the master says, no, you wrote shrewdly. This was very smart of you.
So isn't it the steward's job to write loans and stuff like that?
Yeah, but what he means is he wrote them down. So if somebody owed 100, now they only own 50.
Gotcha.
If somebody owed 100 and another one, they only own 80. So
Was he cheating the steward again?
the steward was cheating the master.
To begin with.
Right. So
Yeah,
why
and
is he
again.
cheating him again? So he can get.
So that when he leaves that house, they will be nice to him and kind to
He
him.
can, okay, that's the part I was.
Okay, I'm sorry.
So to be clear, the steward is not the good guy. It's not we're not supposed to be
But we are the steward.
but we are, but he's not the one it's not like how in the prodigal son he's come back repentant. This is the steward is not a great example of like,
But-
shouldn't be cheating anybody. That's not.
Yeah,
that's
but
not the message.
this is where it connects, is because you go, this is wrong. But what you realize is nothing we have is ours. Be it money, be it God's grace, right? We can waste His grace. We can waste our possessions in this life, right?
Waste our
Nothing we
time.
have is ours.
Yeah.
It's His, right? Our life is His. We're breath from His breath, right? So us forgiving other people, us giving money to other people, we're realizing, and being generous, we're realizing it's not ours. It's His to give away.
But that's what makes this one confusing. Because
Yeah.
you want to make the steward the good guy in your
Right.
mind because he's the little guy,
Like
right?
the hero, but he's
When
not really
in
the hero.
reality, he knows he's about to be out on his behind
Yeah,
and is trying to set himself up a new place to land.
yeah. Well, this is like,
But then he gets
but
praised for
there's
that?
also this shrewdness about it, is saying, hey, you got money? You can, if you
Like-
truly are generous with it, maybe you might,
Might
find a
things
place.
later.
Because you could really help somebody. You could really help somebody. My child, you're the God's child, right? You can help another one of His children. It is very confusing. I'm gonna.
Where I'm getting, what I'm not understanding right is the part where he's giving away,
He's
or
essentially stealing.
he's stealing, well, he's cutting his debt, whatever, what people owe him,
Yeah.
less than what they, why would the owner be happy?
Yeah, why did he praise
Zero.
them?
That's what I don't
There's
understand.
$80 is better than zero. $50.
No, no,
Oh, so it's
no,
better than
no, no. Because the owner is God, right? And He's giving us all this stuff to give to others. He gives us stuff, we give it to them. He gives us grace and love, we give grace and love to others. He gives us any money we have, it's God, and we give to others.
He wasn't doing it out of kindness of his heart, he was doing it to get ahead.
That's what-
Yeah.
That's what so I don't understand, I just don't understand.
You're not
But when
alone.
he's-
There's a lot that's been written on this. I'm
Yeah.
told that this is like one of those parables in the Bible that is like confusing and controversial for many people.
Yeah.
I just don't know if he's getting cheated even more, why is he happy, like, why?
Because it was,
Thinking he's doing the good
yeah.
at one point, but he's cheating twice.
Yeah. There's a few ways to look at it, right? Yeah, he's cheating twice. But he's saying be shrewd with what you have. Maybe you have a lot of money. Go give that money away, and you may make space for yourself in the kingdom, right?
I think a better modern example would be like a parent with a drug addict kid. Like you're enabling, like a parent that enables
Mhm.
a kid with their drug addiction.
Yeah.
Are you really helping them by giving them money to, continue their addiction? Or you're really just cheating the whole family.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know if that would be like a better modern take on this. Maybe not. I don't know.
I'm not following it quite, but also it's already a very confusing.
Right. I
parable.
just added more.
I told you guys I was confused when I read this. I'm still confused. This is what's been written, right? So, but I think it's made that way so we
Can we
think.
zero in on verse 9?
Yes, thank you.
So I read and reread like the study text at the bottom, and it is, even that is kind of like, maybe it is written to like make you keep thinking about it.
And I say to you, make friends for yourselves by unrighteous mammon. Money, wealth, power, status is always unrighteous. Because it's not of the kingdom, it's of this world. So it's not just doing things wrong. Oh, I'm it's not like unrighteous money, like I'm a drug dealer. It's all unrighteous, right? It's all unrighteous. That's hard for us in our modern society to think of money that way, for some of us, right? Like, no, I earned that money. Like, I earned that. Well, nothing's ours. Nothing in this world is ours.
But we're supposed to make
I
friends
feel like
with
the
the
guy, he
unrighteous.
doesn't feel that he's cheating, and people now like him because he cuts their debts, but
Yeah.
he's still cheating. He doesn't he knows he's cheating.
Yeah.
But he thinks because all that good energy now, he helps so many people.
Yeah. Well,
Maybe bring
have anyone in this room ever wasted money?
Yeah.
So the physical thing, or wasted God's grace.
Don't call me out like this.
Have they
I
ever?
know, under the table.
Okay.
Twice a day. Leave me
Yeah.
alone.
So everybody raise their hands, right? So we have already done that. But what? There's a spiritual principle here about binding and loosing, right? Binding means like you hold a grudge, you hold that, somebody's done something wrong to God or to you, and loosing means you forgive it, right? So when we forgive others, their debts, right? Not money debt. It could be money debt. Could be just they did something wrong to us, right? When we forgive them, that has an effect on salvation. It has an effect. It has an effect in this world because you've now just brought God's grace into it because God is all merciful and loving and
But
You're explaining it
why?
well. Oh, I'm sorry, Lance, I just want to
Yeah,
say,
go
you're
ahead.
explaining it well. very
Clearly
well,
not.
because we should be in that mode of thinking like that, right? And
Yeah.
I think the way I got twisted was when the man was wasting his goods, right? So it's like in a business environment, this guy was the steward, so he could keep his job, he's cutting corners.
Yeah.
But you are explaining it in a bigger, broader, holistic, faith-based way. But I
Trying my
was
best.
Like, what the heck is going on here?
Yeah.
Lance, I'm sorry.
Trying my best.
Cut you off, but
I think this is made for this.
But, like,
What do you?
Okay,
Yeah.
But, okay, so like the whole grace analogy. It's like, but grace is it takes the whole thing away, and nothing's accidental. He only takes like half the debt away here. You know what I'm saying? He only takes 80% of the debt. So like I don't think the analogy works. Like why is it a half measure? Why isn't it the full measure? Like
But
You
some
know what
of
I'm
it's
saying?
not just the happy.
Hey, bro, go to God. I didn't this.
you know what I'm saying? But it's like
I know, this is such a wonky one. I have listened to like one of the big theologians in the space about this, and I was still like, okay, maybe that makes sense. And you have study notes and you have other Bible studies you can go to. We have these resources as well. And it's still challenging, but I think if we try to think of it in context, so let's just kind of blow out. Like instead of being in the trees, let's blow out. Let's say we're out, we see that it's the forest, and we know that we're looking at the Bible. Preceding this, we have the prodigal son. Did the prodigal son do anything to deserve that mercy? The answer is no. He said sorry. Like,
Well, he
please make me a
repented.
certain. Yeah, but he didn't deserve it, right? We don't deserve anything. We're not, when we go to communion, it's like, please make me worthy. Because who's worthy? None of us. None of us deserve it, but God gives it to us anyway. So we've got prodigal son on one end, all right? On the other end, we have press for the kingdom. So somehow this little bit with the unjust steward, they're sandwiching unjust steward between, not they, Jesus. We're sandwiching it between the prodigal son who didn't deserve anything, and then we have our efforts. We haven't read press for the kingdom, but the point is that we're supposed to press for the kingdom. Well, we did. We read a little bit of it.
No.
We did. We read
Okay.
press for the kingdom. We did. I'm sorry, I lied.
Yeah.
But the point was, what's right is right and what's wrong is wrong still holds. But we are saved not because we deserve it, right? But we're given this gift freely. We too are supposed to go toward this. We're supposed to become like God. We're made in His likeness and in His image, and we're supposed to strive to be like Him. Like our goal is to be like Jesus, and that's really hard to attain. So we look to the saints, and that's still really hard to attain. So then we just try to do our best,
Well,
Like
no,
sometimes
and
we-
God gives you that grace.
And He gives us
yeah.
that grace, right? So I think we try to approach it by looking at context. And I can't explain the flora and the fauna of this.
I'm
text.
pulled out.
Yeah.
I'm
Did that-
looking
did
at the
that help?
forest.
Did it help? Give
No.
me a thumbs
I
up.
understand what
It
you're
helped.
saying, and I understand what you're saying. I just don't
But yeah,
think it
it's
makes
not
sense.
fully
It
fully
doesn't make
there.
sense, like some of the passages that make sense.
Yeah.
Like what you guys are saying doesn't.
Because a part of it sounds like you can just buy your, maybe, you got all this, you got money, power, wealth, use that to buy your way into heaven,
Yeah, and that's not being said.
But it's not being said, but it sounds like that. So it's very,
I think it's
Yeah.
like the flower. Please, somebody raise their hand and tell me they remember this conversation. We talked about the Bubbas would go and they would go and buy flour in the whatever Kazari, whatever, what is it, like at the, somebody help me. Thank you. And then, so you would go there and you would, you know, the good person who you're shopping from is not gonna be stingy with you. Malobisha, right? It's that same concept of like when you, the tradition of if you received a dish, you wash the dish and you send it back with something. So God is giving us the gift. We spend it badly, right? We all in some way or another fall short of the mark. We fall short, unless you're a nun who's praying and is floating above the trees, and she still has her own spiritual battle and sins, but she's further along than the rest of us. The point that I'm making is, so we give that grace back. That's what we're called to do, is give that love back, give that gift back with an apple on it.
That
with
forgiveness,
something.
that mercy, that love.
Does this help? Yes?
Sorry, I just chat GPT'd it and it makes a little more sense.
Oh,
Okay.
So I cheated, I know.
You're gonna listen to the demon tech. Okay, let's.
Damn it.
I'm gonna save his demon this time for the
Makes sense.
demons.
you're on your own.
I'm on my own
With the demon chat.
with AI. Watch out, because they lie sometimes. But go on, I'll hear it. Speak loudly, Stephen. I
Okay,
can't
here's
hear.
one of, I mean, it does
Did you say
mention that.
Orthodox perspective?
Yes.
Okay,
I
all
put
right,
in-
let's hear it.
It's, well, here's one of the points, because there's a lot of points that this passage,
4.0 or 5.0?
there's like 4 points, no, there's like
No,
four main points, but one of them is this. The Orthodox teaching is that even the smallest actions, honesty, prayer, generosity, shape the soul.
Yes.
If we can't be trusted with money, aka temporary things, how will God entrust us with true spiritual riches?
Yes, that's in the notes, I believe, actually, some version of that. But go on.
But that's just one of the points.
All right, well, let's put AI in
There's a
voice
lot
mode.
to-
He can do the rest. I'm out of a job. I'm out of a job already. They told me it was going to happen. I thought I was safe.
No, but that's what we said about being honest in the smallest of things, giving that little extra, putting the apple on the thing, and these little gestures, they all,
think
like,
maybe-
little by little,
Yeah.
go
Where
far.
people are stuck is, what did it say?
The debts.
Yeah. It's, we're all going to give an account for our lives just as he's giving an account of all the debts. So we're all
Yeah.
going to have to give an account.
Yeah.
Like we're all going to have to write
But
down.
if say you did something wrong to me and I forgave you,
It's off the ledger.
it's off the ledger.
Right.
It's off the ledger. So it's not going to be 100, but it might be 20, right?
Oh, that's a good, yes.
Yeah.
That
It's
clicks.
starting to click.
Yeah.
Go team.
Right? That was good.
It takes 10, 12 brains to figure this one out.
Well, it just took about 1 million there because it harvested all that intelligence.
Compiling all of the church
So,
fathers.
so I have two things before we do the reading, I have two things that can go home with whoever's willing.
have a
Number
job.
one, we have the beheading of St. John the Baptist observed this Thursday at 10 a.m. Anybody who wants specifics on like,
He missed you.
what are we commemorating, I have one reading and I can post it to the group. One of those, and here's one, you know, I'm never one to shy away from a controversial topic. So this is a 22-minute read on language. Is the language controversy of divine liturgy? What should the language of the liturgy be? If you want to know what the patristic writings on this topic is, I got it here.
Why don't you post it?
It's 22 pages.
You can post
I mean,
it still.
I can still post it, but anybody who wants a hard copy, rather I'm looking at you, I feel like it's but anyone else who wants it, and
Star
also,
student.
the beheading of John the Baptist being commemorated on Thursday, Divine Liturgy at 10 a.m. Anybody, any takers? Takers? Pass them down, okay, please. Give this to one to Violetta and one to. Okay, so you know what? I'm so glad we ended where we did because this will dovetail nicely. Generosity, generosity, giving the first fruits, not the leftovers. Honor the Lord with your substance and with the first fruits of all your produce. Then your barns will be filled with plenty and your vats will be bursting with wine, from Proverbs chapter 3. Do we give God the first fruits or the leftovers? He has typos, forgive him. This is a critical question. Many people say family comes first, and they are quick to defend or help family no matter what. I dare say even sometimes in front of God.
No,
Sometimes,
before God. Yeah.
what do you mean? Sometimes families do things that are contrary to God's expectations, and we don't speak up against it because it's family first. Others put work first. They have no problem working 80 plus hours a week. Some still find time for families. Others, or many do not. But do these find time for God? And if so, is it the first and best time or the leftover time? Others have been sucked into the riches and cares of life. Weekend trips to the beach house have been earned. Sunday baseball games make attending church impossible. Surely God understands, right? It's family time. I heard a preacher once say, you know what's wrong with praying only at night? It's because the prayer goes something like this: Lord, you know I love you, I'm tired, I'll talk to you tomorrow, amen. Giving God the first fruits of something says two things about our faith. First, it says that our relationship with God is the most important thing. It doesn't say it is one of the most important things, but the most important thing in our lives. Second, it says that we trust God. Imagine that two people wake up and immediately get dressed and go to work. They both work for themselves, so they don't have to punch a clock at a certain time. One decides to spend 30 minutes in prayer and reflecting on the scriptures. The other dives immediately into work. Initially, the one who has dived into work looks like he is ahead of the other, and he has no doubt about that. He has no doubt about that. The one who goes to prayer and scripture first, ahead of work, is making a statement that he trusts God enough to give away precious time and fall behind, trusting that God will bless him and that he will still get his tasks for the day accomplished. It's not uncommon and not surprising when a parent laments that his children are no longer interested in coming to church. Looking at the upbringing of those children, weekends spent at sports, summer spent traveling, very infrequent church attendance, no prayer time at home, should it be a surprise? When parents consistently model for children that God gets whatever is left over, if anything, they are not going to make God their priority. God may not even get the leftovers. I can personally say that in the times when I have felt most fully surrendered to God, giving the first fruits of what I have and giving them sacrificially and joyfully, these are the times I have enjoyed God's greatest blessings. When I spent the night in a hospital with someone and gotten little to no sleep, these are actually the days that I've had the best liturgies and given the best sermons. I gave God my first and my best, and he in return gave me the best blessings. No, he didn't rain money down on me. He didn't take away the fatigue, but he brought uncommon wisdom and clear thinking when I needed it. And I can personally say that in the times that God has felt the farthest away from me, it is definitely in the times that I have pushed him to the back burner. Trusting is hard. It means ceding control, and we all like control. I like control. I do too. The only way to the resurrection was for Christ to go to the cross. For him to give his whole life in order to pave the way to paradise for us. The only way we can be given salvation is to give our whole life to Christ. This is why we pray in the petitions in our services. Let us commend ourselves and one another and our whole life to Christ our God. If the ideal and the goal is to commend our whole life to Christ, then we need to give him the first and best, not the leftovers. God is with us. Know it in, this is a psalm you can read on your own because it's a long one. No, it's not a psalm. It's from the Great Comp Line. Give the Lord the first of your time today. That's the ending message. Okay.
That was easier to understand.
Yeah.
Was it easier? We didn't need ChatGPT. All right.
Thank you, that was nice.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for coming. No crying today.
Oh, I would like to make a book recommendation.
Yes, go ahead, Stephen.
It's called Saint Silouan the Athenite.
Oh, yeah.
This is a real good, it's pretty expensive, but it's a good one.
Steve is loaning it out to everybody.
No, I'm not. I'm only like a quarter through, so
Yeah.
Oh.
Awesome.
this is what it looks like.
Give us a highlight. Tell us something that you read that you liked.
It's really emphasizing God's mercy.
Yeah.
Like that's what the whole book is about.
That's
But
cool.
it follows the life of a monk, a Russian monk on Mount Athos from the 1900s. What he went through and his experience.
Nice.
It's a good.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Steve, if you can vault over the table.
That was a rough one. This is the first time it's ever happened where we didn't like really understand it. When I think master servant, I think like we're on a plantation.
And also, because he thought he was talking about that book, I know Elijah, but I'm
Yep, I'll see you later, Lance.
It was nice to meet you.
Nice meeting all of you.
highlighting,
I'm looking forward to coming.
Modern minor There's no like modern example of that.
I think the point of it is you could look at it as 10 different ways.
Right, it's
You
like
can incorporate all of it, and I
It's
think
kinda
that's
like-
part of it.
it's kind of like this one's like up to you.
Yeah.
It's a rare.
I swear.
It's a rare thing where the interpretation is actually up to you in a way.
Yeah.
Not the interpretation, but like the way you look at it.
Yeah. Because there's so many different ways to look at it, and you're not
Now I
wrong.
remember you telling me that.
There isn't a wrong way to look at it. And that's why I think it's
Maybe
all
I'm
of them.
maybe I'm hopefully doing a little better than last time.
This is always excellent. The first time was church, the second time was here, and this is now the third.
Nevin, I
So, like,
finally
I
got to
hear
meet
ya.
Pio.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't believe I never met him. No, he was just coming.